bit precarious, huh? But it's all right. As long as we can see each other, that's the important thing. And we know why we're here, don't we? We're here to discover the truth together. The most remarkable thing that man and woman can do. There is nothing else to do but discover the truth together, obviously. So let us begin. Why I am here is to show it to you, to demonstrate it in your own experience so that you can do it when you are not with me. For many teachers tell you the truth, and they are beautiful to be with. But the point is that you have to do it. The teachers have done it. If they are true teachers, they've done it. And to be with them is beautiful. And that collapses all your resistance, or should do, to use them properly. And you feel the wonder of being burdenless, of being present. For the present is the presence. And so you feel your own unburdened presence. And you feel good and right and true. But then as soon as you go out the door, it's on again. The burden gradually descends on you. Because you start chatting and discussing the truth that you have been with. You start giving opinions of whether you enjoyed it, or how interesting it was, and all those stupid words that cannot be applied to the truth. That depends on whether you were interested. But the truth doesn't care whether you're interested or not. The truth is not here to entertain you. The truth is here purely to free you. And the thing that wants to discuss it, understand it, be interested in it, or interpret it, is the only burden that you have. You've got to test whether I'm speaking the truth, of course, because that's half of the reason why I'm with you. So that I say it and you do it, meaning you put it through your system, this extraordinary system that you are, each individual, and you test it. Is it the truth, what he's saying? You don't listen with the thing between your ears. That's how you listen to your mother and father and friends. And then that thing talks through your mouth and gives your opinions. Opinions have no relationship whatever to the truth. So you listen with your solar plexus. You listen with your center, with your being. Your solar plexus, of course, is not real. It's just an indication in your perceived body so that I can show you the center to your consciousness. For your consciousness has no shape whatever, but you can feel it within. And so you listen to me as you would listen to the birds or anyone. You listen with your center. And what you hear comes in through your senses, your ears, which exist purely to channel the sound, the energy right down here. Listen with there and you feel the joy of the bird song and the joy of the truth. If it is the truth, though, that's your job, to be the presence right up in your sense of being, so that you see, is it the truth that I am hearing? Because you know the truth. And it is because the people have been telling you, your mother and father, your teachers, brothers and sisters, and all the friends, they tell you you do not know the truth. And so you listen to the untruth, because that is not the truth. The truth is that you do know the truth, only you have forgotten it. Because no one speaks the truth to you anymore. And if you don't use a limb, it atrophies, dies. You lose the sense of feeling in it. And so if you don't use your vast knowledge of the truth, it starts to atrophy and you start to die too. And if you look around at all your friends, the whole Western civilization, you look upon the living dead. Because there is no love, no life that endures there. We are here to discover that life that endures, and we do it through the truth. And I give you something to take with you, and that is how to do it in a material body, in a body that bleeds apparently, in a body that gets frightened and confused. I show you how to do it in that body so that when you are not with me, you can do it. For you must never be dependent on me, although you must come and be with me. For I tell you the truth, the beauty and wonder of yourself. And when you start to hear that, and the more you hear it, the more you grow in the beauty and wonder of yourself. Because do you think I could speak to all you people if I did not know the truth? If I weren't the living truth? Of course not. It'd be a lecture. You'd get bored. You can't get bored here because you're all on your own. Don't put yourself on me. I will not have it. If you're bored with yourself. Be gone. Go and where you want to be. Be where you want to be. Never be where you do not want to be, man and woman, for you will then be unhappy and you will not be responsible. Be gone. Go and be happy wherever you want to be, but don't come here looking for happiness. You come here to find yourself, and that is freedom from unhappiness. Right. So let us begin by making sure that we stay present. That we don't kid ourselves that we're present like we are in meditation when we go so deep, so far, and then we start to skid laterally off onto an infinite spiral, or not even a spiral, circle, a loop. We just can't get any deeper to where we are free. Because meditation, where I come from, is finished. For I have brought you being, which is beyond all meditation. But it is better to meditate than not to meditate until you can be. So let me show you how to be, so that your meditation will be deeper. And wherever you are with the truth, whether it is the sparrows singing on the gutter, or whether it is with some great master, you will be able to be and hear the song and the presence of life. Now you begin to be by being where you are. It means one thought and you have left this room. You are irresponsible. One thought. Because you can only think about somewhere else. And if you think about somewhere else, then go and be there. You are not here. You are not responsible for the truth, which is always where I am. And where I am is where that body is, right? For that is the thing that you call I all day. So where that body is where I am. And if I think I want to be somewhere else, then I am dual. I am at war with my body. I am at war with life that put me here. So I will know pain and suffering because I cannot be where I am. So the first way to find the truth, the being, is to be where you are. You are in this room, but you are on that chair. I am on that chair, right? The thing you call I is there. You call no one else you, I. You've never called yourself you yet. You are I, right? So be I and be responsible for I. So be where I am. I am always in this body. I am never out of this body unless I am irresponsible. Right. Now, to be in this body, I must be present where the senses are without thought, for thought is nobody. And then I must be present within, because everybody out there thinks they're present, but they're not, because they still know unhappiness. And when you know unhappiness in your life or your circumstances, you are not in your body. You're still cunningly getting out of it by thinking about somewhere else where you want to be. But you don't want to be here, or you want to be somewhere else. You're cunningly leaking. And as you leak, you rise. You lose your gravity. You lose your mass, your wonder, and you start to rise out of your body. And anybody who is out of their body is going to be unhappy, obviously. That is where the human race is. The whole human race is out of their body. So are you surprised when you pick up the newspapers, listen to your mother and father speak for long, or your friends, and hear the unhappiness in them? All their problems. This terrible, terrible world. Well, I don't have any problems, because I am in my body. And I am an ordinary man as you are an ordinary man or woman. So let's find out how I get into my body. You get into your body first by feeling the sensation in your hands. You've got to know you've got a body first. The world out there doesn't know it's got a body unless it kicks its toe, unless someone punches it in the stomach, unless it's hungry, unless it's got a drink to temporarily remind it it's got a body that it can feel. And then that goes. Unless it has hungry for some food, you get some food for a while, it lasts. Oh, I do feel good. Oh, it's a lovely meal. And then it's gone. Did my lovely body disappear just because my lovely meal disappeared? Did it? Did the drug in the arm that gives you a great high, when that's gone, is your lovely body gone? Or then you substituted some addiction for it? And then you can feel the addiction of the cigarette smoke, the booze, or something else. And now you've got a negative high. Oh yes, we love our negative highs like a good depression. Nothing like a good depression to substitute for your beautiful body, a mood, which is not your beautiful body at all. Your beautiful body has never been moody yet and never will be. Your beautiful body bleeds. It gets sick, debilitated, but it's not moody. It's not depressed. It's just an ordinary little body like the cat. The cat doesn't get depressed. The lions and tigers don't get depressed, although you can see it creeping into them when you lock them up. Beautiful bodies, little bodies don't get depressed. It is that ugly, devilish body inside of you that does the evil. Right. We've got to have a look at that thing, haven't we? Because if you're restless, you know who's restless, don't you? not your body, not the little animal, which is so pure, like the rabbits I've just been watching, or the birds. All the animals are so pure. What's so special about you? This is an animal. This body's an animal, bleeds. It is beautiful, this animal. What makes it ugly? What makes it want? What makes it try? What makes it say, I've got to do this? That is your emotional body, your wanter, your trier, your fear of what people will say or think of you if you're straight, if you get up and talk about God and life and truth to the entire world. You're afraid of it. You want to find some problem. That's what the thing is. It's always looking for a problem. And what you look for, you must have, man and woman, because you are the power of the universe. You are the God, the Creator. What do you want? You want problems? You must have it. You are the Creator, man and woman. You want to be unhappy? You must have it. You want a depression? You must have it. How about if you said, I will not have it in this body? How about that? Just as a possibility. We all know it's impossible, don't we? You can go and ask any scientist with a degree. You can ask them all the sociologists. It's impossible. But say you just said inside that little body, I will not have this ugliness in me. What would happen? Did you ever think of doing that? Or do you want to make a problem of it and say it's impossible? That's the first thing the Western mind says. It's impossible. Anything to do with being free of unhappiness or problems is impossible to the Western mind. See, because it's got to land a man on the moon. That's a big problem. Okay. I've got to be a millionaire. That's a big problem if I'm not. Everything's a problem to the Western mind. There's no problem. Everything's perfect. It is the Western mind which has been here for all recorded history. It's been evolving. Only the Western mind evolves. That's the only thing that's comfort and convenience and progress is the Western mind. Everything else just grows, you know. It's all right, thanks. So the Western mind consists of improving things. I better quote that, improving things, huh? We don't need any more mustard gas just now, do we? Because they've invented all that stuff. What are they inventing today, do you think? I was with one of Britain's leading physicists the other day, up at one of our great universities. Had 4 hours with him. He's concerned with matter, mind and unification of mind and matter. He's very concerned with it. On his blackboard, very concerned with the unification of matter and mind. Are these scientists mad? I am the unification of mind and matter. What do you want to go and get an equation for it? I am the equation. I am man. Man is the equation. Man and woman. I am the living equation of mind and matter that has been unified. And they're still trying to find it in their materialism. They are mad. Utterly mad. And when you speak with them, they are mad. They are restless. Their bodies jump all over the place. They can't be still for a moment. Brilliant, yes, brilliant, but mad. It is insane not to be free now. Anything else is insanity, man and woman? Surely. Reality has to be now. It has to be, or it's not reality. It's not, reality can't be something tomorrow. It can't be something yesterday. It has to be now. Would you examine the word? Reality comes from the root est, or is. Now, where is this reality? I will tell you, and you see if it has the ring of truth in it. Even if you do not know it, see if it has the ring of truth in it. Test it with your beautiful system. Reality is to be free of unhappiness and all problems now. Well, I don't have a problem now, do you? Then perhaps you are reality now because you acknowledge to me, I have no problem. Do you ever go up to everyone and say, I have no problem, life is good? Not because Jesus is in heaven, for Christ's sake, stop that nonsense. If Jesus is in heaven, I tell you, heaven is within you, and so therefore Jesus is where I am. And so there's no problem. Jesus is no problem. And Buddha is no problem. And Krishna is no problem. Because if they are the God or the gods, then they are here where I am. For I am free of Jesus' problems, Christ. I am free of everything. Because I am. Is that fair enough, man and woman? And do I speak as you? Don't put it up here, will you? Please. Take responsibility for it there. That is where reality is. Don't put it up here, please. For the human mind will gradually try to shove it up onto me. And I will not demean you by taking that. You must keep it there. I, and I alone, there am responsible for my life. Is that fair enough? Right, that's where you start. Then you will not blame another for your life, will you? See how subtle it is. See how terribly subtle the Western mind is. My mother is making me unhappy. Well, my beautiful mother does not make me unhappy, for I will not have her unhappiness on top of me. So she does not make me unhappy. Nothing makes me unhappy. But don't put it onto me, will you? Always read, for whatever I talk about here, it is I there, the me there, the I there. Do not put it up here. This is not real. This is a form of life, not life itself. Now, could we be clear on that, please? See, what we're doing is entering our body. All the time I'm talking, we are in process. Could we be sure of what we are? I am the only I in the universe sitting in that particular body. The only I in the universe, because only I know whether I'm lying now when I ask you, are you listening? See? Only I there know. Now let's feel inside your hands. Feel the vibration, the tingling, the sensation in the hands and in the feet, the ankles. That's where it's easiest felt. Then feel it in your thighs, your kneecaps, your legs. Then feel it in your genitals. Yes, your genitals. Feel it sensating, vibrating. Then your hip bones, and around from your hip bones to your stomach, and from your stomach right round your back, and the buttocks where you're sitting on the seat, but feel it from within, this sensating thing. From the waist down, then you are sensating. And then you can feel it in the top of your body, your head, your nose, your lips, your cheeks, the back of your head, your shoulders, your chest, your breasts, the small of the shoulder blades and down your back. And then you can come through from the back to the solar plexus in the stomach. You are sensating. Feel it. That is purely the skin of yourself, your inner self. Feel it? You've got a skin out here of an external perceived body. Feel that one? That is the introduction to your immortal body. For I introduce you to what is the truth. For I can demonstrate the truth of anything at all. By the grace or power of God, I can demonstrate anything in the universe that everyone has made abstract and a question of belief. You need to believe in nothing. For if you believe in anything, you'll run into someone who believes in something else, and they will shake you. You must demonstrate to yourself the truth, and that is why you are here, why we are here. To demonstrate it so that it's real for you. And you don't need to believe in all these priests and interpreters. You are man or woman. That is enough. But be man or woman, and man or woman, true man or woman, believes in nothing. Because life is now. So feel that sensational body. In there is your anger, resentment, restlessness if you're restless, boredom if you're bored. But also in there, underneath all that rubbish, is the wonder that you are, the sweetness that you are, the thing that responds to the birds as they sing, that says, life is good. I know my love. I can feel my love. Life is good. Because that is your being. The good is your being. The resentment, the hate, the but, what about this, but, that is all the condition of yourself, not the state of yourself, which is the good. Now, which have you been acknowledging? Before you come to me, which are you acknowledging? I'm not talking about affirming, for if you affirm, you're in dead trouble. Acknowledging every moment the good inside yourself. Or you're always saying, oh, I'm not going to find God. Oh, I'm restless. Oh, I'm in trouble. Did you ever think of putting it round the other way like a true being and acknowledge life now? Isn't life good? Isn't it good inside there, underneath all the silly doubts that have become residual in you? Isn't life demonstrably in your own experience now by the feeling of yourself, isn't it good? Well, the Western mind has made sure that you're not so sure what I'm saying that it's good all the time. Because its job is to make you problematical. No one wants you to be free in the West. No one. Because if you're free, they'll have to do something about it. But if you're not free, if we can keep you unhappy, wanting this, trying to do that, if we can keep you that way, then I can be unhappy. And you'll forgive me because you want to be unhappy, so you'll forgive my unhappiness. And we'll have a nice little trade going on, won't we? Well, that's finished. If you are with the truth that I am, and there's only one I in the universe. Now, inside that sensation, would you have a look and see if this is the truth? I trust you have looked at whether that is the truth. There is only one I in the universe. Because the mind's going to keep slipping away from that one. Fair enough. We have 6,000 years of recorded history. The momentum of that, the ignorance of it, will push you off the truth. Because the truth is so simple, it has no momentum in it. So you'll get pushed off that. There is only one I in the universe because only I there know whether I'm lying when I say I love you. Fair enough? Fair enough? Does anyone else know? Of course not. Now let's find out about life. There is only one life in the universe, and I am that. Feel your sensation, please. Feel what's in there. Who else is feeling that? It's only your imagination that makes you think anyone else feels that. You feel it. You and you alone. There is only one life in the universe, and I am that, as I am the only I. Right. Can we stand this truth? Is it too much for you? Well, if it is too much for you, you'll have to go back and live some more out there, won't you, where no one tells you the truth. And then when you're dying, when your body is dying and you can't move and the blood's pumping out of you and you feel the great blackness and debilitation coming on you, where do you think the only I and the only life in the universe will be? It will be in this body. But unless I have found and acknowledged the only life and I that I am, I will go unconscious and I will miss the glory of death, which I could not face in life, so I cannot face it in death. So I'll have unconsciousness instead of death, because I've lived a life of compromise. 1 foot in both graves. Good. Now you've got to be easy. You mightn't believe me, you see. You've got to be easy to do it. Right? Sure, I got to come down and thunder and get your attention, you see. And then you've got to give up the attention, which becomes tension. Okay, so now we're all easy again, right? We start again. Because that's the only way to enter your beautiful body. You don't believe it's beautiful. And fancy me having to tell you that your body is beautiful. I don't care how old you are. And even if you're sick, dying of cancer, all the better. Because we're all going to die some way or other, don't worry. It's all going to get us in some way or other. And there's nothing noble about illness or sickness, except if you use it. And we've all got to have it. It is there for us to use. So you've got to look under the pain. You've got to find the good under the condition. You've got to find the state under the condition. You're looking for the state, but everyone's looking for the condition. And the condition never lasts. It always gives up, can't be bothered, can't be sustained, tires, becomes indifferent. But the state is always good. And now what do I mean by good? We've got to be careful of these terms, haven't we? For I always use right words. Very rare in the Western world today, which is filled with words. And no word, no logos, for I am the logos. And you don't put it on me, will you? You'll start calling me arrogant, you see. You've got to keep it where it is. I am the word. I am the logos. And all the mouth speaks most of the time is words. Because it comes from the brain, is silly, evolutionary, analyzing, categorizing, reflective brain. which knows nothing. Because when you're dying, what's going to happen to your brain that wants to know whether relativity theory is true or not? How many atoms are in the something thing? When you're dying, when your loved one has left you and sleeping with another, where's the old relativity theory, eh? When the whole being, the psychic being, for you are psychic beings, when it contracts and you know this dreadful pain that is so illogical, so unrational. I mean, the scientists just say, now, come, my boy, nothing's happening, until you tell him that his wife's sleeping with another man. Utter rubbish. They cannot be men and women like you and I. Of course they are, but they like to put this nonsense on themselves. They have a very serious conversation in front of the blackboard. Righto. So the only I and the only life is there. Now responsibility. For I would like to talk now about responsibility and obligation. Everything I talk about is what you face in your life, isn't it? And shortly, I'm going to ask you to ask questions if you like, and we'll go into all the matters where I might not have communicated so well, or you might have misunderstood what I've said, so that we can get down to your life, to free you of this Western, this stupid, utterly ridiculous Western mind, which has no love in it, no life in it. So all the news that you ever receive is bad news. All made by the Western mind, the Western reporters, who only report bad news. Or sexual news. They've got another fancy one. You must notice this. I'm here to destroy the Western mind, by the way, so you know what I'm up to. But you've got to see if it's true. They only report bad news, except sexual titivation. How about that one? How about it when a lady's raped? They love that one. It's got nothing whatever to do with the audience, whether a lady's raped. It's to do with the lady and the powers that be to put an end to it as best as possible. What right have you got to listen that a lady was raped and went through all that shocking psychic, whatever it was? What right have you got to sit there in your dining room or and listen to that sexual titivation? Well, I'll tell you what the right is. The non-right of the freedom of the press, the utter abomination of the modern Western world, which uses sexual titivation to give you a good sexual high at the expense of someone else's suffering. They use it every day for you. It's nice little snide asides. Don't you see what they're conning you with? They use the sexual energy to perpetuate their lies so that you'll think they're interesting in all the magazines. Working on your sexual titivation, there's only one thing, and that's to make love with your physical body. Don't be titivated. Go and make love with your physical body. Go and do it. And if you don't have a woman, man, go and pay a beautiful prostitute. A beautiful woman, mind you, she's a beautiful woman. She's there, pay her, but make love to her. You know, love her. Don't use her, for God's sake, or you perpetuate the beast in you. Love her with your whole body. Is that the truth? Don't you know that the prostitutes are there to be loved because they do you a great service, man? There's only one man and we are it. They serve us. And they will always be isolated from us until they are loved by man who uses them. Not possessed. You cannot possess your partner. It doesn't matter whether it's your wife or the woman or man you live with. You can't possess them. You love them. When you make physical love, go and love them. Don't hold back. Don't fantasize while you're making love to this woman's body. Go and fantasize about another woman's part or her face. Because you are then not being true. You're not being here, are you? You've left me and you are not true to life. Love her or get out of her. Be true. Is that fair enough? And you women, the same. Can you stand this? Is it all right? You've got to examine, is it all right? There's one man got to go. Righto, you've got to see, is it the truth? If it's not the truth, if it's not the truth, you've got to stand up and say, that is not the truth. And then I have to listen and say, right, speak your truth, so that my fellow man and woman can hear if you know the truth. Because we're only looking for the truth, aren't we? Right. Would you feel yourselves, please? Drop into the body again, you see. You get carried away, you get out in the emotions. You drop into the body again. Got the sensation? That's your reality. That's your isness. Right? Now in there you feel whatever you feel. But in there is life. Right? In there is life. It's all you've got. Now if you want anger and resentment, if you've lived on anger and resentment, well, of course it's going to be residual in there. And it's going to keep coming up because you've been serving anger and resentment. I worship you. You can use my body. Yes, not all the time. But anger, yes, I'm angry now. Here it comes. Anger's about to reincarnate. Here it comes. How dare you do that to me? Here it is. It's reincarnated anger. And it is using my body. So what do you think happens when you're all nice and calm again and anger's had a feed of you through your body? Anger then withdraws and you feel good again. But you have worshipped at the altar of anger. You have allowed something evil or not right to enter that body, and it will come again because you have to be strong enough as I there to keep it out, for it is the not good. And there is only one good, and I am that there in that body. Feel it? Can you feel the good? Don't believe that you're good, please, from me. Feel the good? Is it good to be alive? Would you like someone just to demonstrate that point for you? Perhaps to put their hands around your throat and start squeezing the life out of you? Or the cancer test that says 3 weeks to live, so that you know it's true. And not just some doctor's 50% right, 50% wrong. You can never believe them, you know. Can't believe anything. They might be right and they might be wrong. But if you felt it was right and you knew it was right and demonstrated to you, do you think you'd feel that life was good? Well, I assure you, when you realize that there's a possibility of your dying, you will realize that life is good. Right, so why not realize it now? Right. Okay, so that's the point of it, isn't it? Feel it? You've got to do it. Because when you leave here, what's the point of coming here just for a lecture? You've got to be able to do it. And there is no truth in the mind. No truth whatever in the mind. It is in the feeling, in the ground of the mind, that you have to enter. And when you're in the ground of the mind, the ground of the good, feel it, then the mind or the field of the ground. You know, ground, field of the ground. The ground is always substantial. See if this is true. Feel the substantiality of God or good or the eye. Feel it, where it's good. Mightn't be good too. Over here, mightn't be good across your chest. You might have some bit of constriction, feel as though you want some breath. Okay, but somewhere it's good. Feel the good. That is the ground of I, for I am the good. My ground is the good that has no opposite. There can certainly be conditions in that state, but that's all right, I can handle it. I can handle cancer, I can handle death even. I, man or woman. I can handle anything, but there's always the good. That's how I handle it, because I can feel the good. Feel it. Now, this is not telling you to believe in Jesus, right? It's not telling you to believe in God, right? It is telling you, feel it. Is it there or is it not? Is there any good in you? And it's in the sensation, isn't it? Then you don't have to believe anyone. You can say, well, yes, there is good in me. Good. That is the beginning of the end of the other. So you feel the good. Don't know what I was saying. Anyone remind me where our theme or it doesn't matter, you see. Doesn't matter. As long as you're doing, as long as you're feeling the good, then you are self-entering. And the more you feel the good, the more you discover the good. And the more I enter the body then, and the more the conditions start to get out. Because they cannot stand the good. The problem can't stand the solution, right? Would you have a look at that? The scientists can't stand the solution because I am the solution, and I will tell any scientist the truth, as I did, but they can't receive it for long. You see, they want to get onto the old equations in the blackboard. Can you feel any good in the blackboard, or would it happen to be in you, huh? Right. The solution we're looking for, not the answers, because every problem has an answer. That's in science. That's great, because then we need another 5 answers. How about the solution, Mr. Scientist? Oh, well, you know, he looks at all these degrees. Well, what will I do if I get a solution to the whole thing? We mustn't have a solution. So the best thing, let's invent the Big Bang Theory. You know, right back 15,000 million years away from now. That'll be a good one. We've got 15,000 million years to work in. And if we got 15,000 million years behind where the world came from, then we can say when we look into space, but really it's 15,000 million years ahead. Because we're talking about the life of the universe, you see, and because the stars we're looking at, really that light that they're sending us was sent to us 15,000 million years ago. Now, says the scientist, is that in front of us or behind us? He's so convoluted, he's like a dozen reptiles or worms in a big tin. He got no answers. Oh, plenty of answers, no solution. Feel a good man and woman, please. That is the solution. It's the end of the problem, sorry. What a bore. What are you going to do all day? People say to me, I've got to earn the rent, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Don't worry, feel the good. Feel the good. You'll still get up off your chair at 3:30, by the way. We're going to have a break for some afternoon tea. Ah, good, thanks. Right. Well, we just get off with the solutions and the answers, right? Because you're all looking for answers, aren't you? You want an answer to this problem, answer to that, why you can't find God quick enough, why the spiritual path takes so long, why this day you're moody, where do your moods come from, you want to know. They're all answers. You're asking answers. I deal in solutions, man and woman, for I am the only solution. Feel the good? There. Feel the good? Feel the good? Feel the good? Feel the good? And you walk around feeling the good all day. Righto, so your lover just left you. Right. Your lover just left you. Events must happen to you. Okay. The little baby's got to look after that when they're knocked down by a car and they've got a cast of plaster on them. They look up with their innocence and they say, "What's happened to me, Mum?" And you say, "You've broken your arm." You say, "What does that mean?" "Yeah." "How do you feel?" "I'm all right." "Yeah." "Are you all right?" "Yes, I think I'm all right." "You're handling it okay?" "Yes, as a little child." "Yes." That's innocence. The little child's got to handle it. The cat's got to handle it in the Hessian bag on the way to the river. What's happening to me? There's always events. Your lover's always going to leave you. Let me give you the news. Always your lover is going to leave you. Is that the truth? That is a terrible truth. It is a terrible truth, but it's the truth. So therefore, the truth being the truth must have some good in it. And the good is this: even when your lover leaves you, and as terrible as that vacuum or apparent vacuum is, underneath the vacuum, the little heart beats, and it is good somewhere in you. It is that is the strength of man and woman, that you have to be able to see the good. Always. Because your little heart is beating. Is that the truth? When you are depressed, is your little heart still beating as valiantly, as nobly and courageously as when you are excited or boozing or whatever it is? And there's nothing wrong with boozing. I've boozed up to my ears. Okay. But the little heart, you remember this when you are away, it will still be beating. And it will still beat the next day that you say, not long after, "Oh, it's such a beautiful day." Not long after your lover has left you. But then the mind will say, "But you're unhappy. Don't be happy." So you will destroy the beauty of the day and start to think about how unhappy you are. And still your little heart will be ticking away. Because your little heart is a part of the state of life, not the condition of life. Can you join the state, man and woman? Are you big enough? Are you real enough to take your place in life, which is man or woman? Of course you are. You come to me when you are ready, when you've suffered enough, you've had enough of the lies proposing as the truth, and you say, "For God's sake, will someone give it to me straight?" Well, I trust, is it straight? Is it straight? Right. Of course it's got to be straight or you wouldn't be here. Now, please feel yourself. Just check that it's all right, you see. You've got to keep checking, because that's the self-entry. The process is, because I'm speaking the truth and you are listening, although you go off, you come back again, that is self-entry. You are entering your own subconscious, where all the devil maker is down there, all the problems. You are entering it, but you've got to keep consciously checking. Is it all right? That you can feel the good. It's the practice of the feeling of the good. Right. Okay, I'll just remind you from time to time. Whenever you're reminded, check. Yes, it's still all right. As long as you don't think. If you think, it won't be right for long. Because you can only think about problems. Now, responsibility and obligation. Frequently people ask me about this because it's an area of misunderstanding. I say, the basis of my teaching is this, right? You must never be unhappy. If you are in a job that makes you unhappy, I have to say, what are you doing in it, please? You either surrender to the job, knowing that it is life, for all things is your own God, your own I, your own life, bringing circumstances that you need to make you real. You surrender to the job, to the boss, and all the awful conditions that are being forced on you, and you say, I know what I am doing. Notice the word, I know what I am doing, because I am using this to surrender and not be unhappy in the job. So I use the job for surrender to life, and then I get rid of my unhappiness that way. I use it because I know what I am doing. In other words, I am now responsible. I know what I am doing. Right. The other way is quit. Do not put up with anything that makes you unhappy, having endeavoured to surrender to it. For you must always endeavour to surrender first, so that you don't get caught up by this silly mind that is always restless and wants to get from here over to the good over there, and when it gets there it didn't want it anyway. So you have to practice surrender by knowing what you're doing, because your partner has been put with you so that you will learn the lesson of your partner, for every partner has something to teach me. When I say me, you know where I'm talking about, the only I. Your job has something to teach you. Your God, your life, your truth put you there just so that you would get it right. You would either have the guts to say, I will not be unhappy, having had the guts to say, I will use this thing because I know what I am doing with my life. I am surrendering, learning from every circumstance. That is being responsible, is it not? Do you recognize it? When you know what you are doing, you are responsible. Then we come in with obligation. Are you obliged to sit here? The answer is definitely not. If you are unhappy, be gone. You are not obliged to sit here, and you know it. You can do something about it. Right. Are you obliged to look after your children? The answer is no. You are not obliged to look after your children. You can leave them at any time you like. What will happen to them? Well, that's too bad. You are not obliged to, just as if you die tonight. You still won't be obliged to look after your children, will you? It is Western man's idea that he's never going to die now. And he does all the time, doesn't he? You have to have guts to be responsible. But what does keep you looking after your children? Because you know what you're doing. Inasmuch as you look after them, not because you're obliged to, but because you know what you're doing, you want to, you truly want to. You are responsible, you know what you're doing. But the part of you that says, that sees them, putting it on you, the very emotion that I say I won't have from you, you allow your children to put that stuff onto you. And then you complain you don't want it. But I'll tell you, the only reason that the children have got it in them is because you've put it onto them. You've allowed them to get away with it. You've allowed them to be unhappy. If you're not honest with your children about what the life's about, then they can't be honest. They'll get emotional. If you're not honest with your children, they have to get emotional. You see what happens here? I'm honest with you. So you stay and listen to me. It's certainly not exciting, it's not entertaining. I'm honest with you. You like that. You don't get emotional with me. So it is with the children, for we're all children. When someone's honest with us, really honest, I'm not talking about being kindly honest, but really honest, leaving no room for any doubt where emotion comes in. You have no doubt. You're just yourself. Then emotion doesn't come in, and the child knows what love is. Love is firm, but love knows what it's doing. My mum knows what she's doing. My dad knows what he's doing. Okay, he really steps on me when I'm out of line, but he knows what he's doing, and I love him for it. All the mixed up youth of today, you know why they're mixed up? They're mixed up because of the parents, not because of the youth, because the parents couldn't get it right. They want someone to speak the truth to them, to say, for God's sake, get me right, and I will do what you say if you will only be honest and love me enough to be straight. But parents don't love enough today. It's too easy to be a parent. You see, you just make love and probably out of it comes a child. You can't do it that way. That means you're irresponsible. You've got to be able to be a parent to be a parent. You've got to love enough to never ever let up on it. Not say, oh, I don't feel like that today, I'm a bit tired. You can't do that. That's not being man or woman as parent. You've got to love like I love you. And you love me because you are listening to me. It's a two-way deal. We give to each other, but a different love, isn't it? To what the world has taught you what love is. This is love. Being able to be present where you are and talk about life and God and truth, the reality that you are. That is love. And as soon as you stop doing that, the emotion starts to creep into the relationship. And your partner and you start to cover each other with muck and you can't see each other clearly anymore. Because you're not responsible. You are responsible now. Have a look at the state of it. You know what you're doing. You are responsible for your life, for being here. You're not obliged to, but you stay here because I trust you know what you're doing. You are listening. You are testing every moment. Is this man speaking the truth? That makes you responsible to test that. Not to believe in him. Not to compare what he says with some other master. That's all rubbish in the mind. The master is now. And it is you to see whether I speak the truth. That's all. And when you start to hear the truth and appreciate means to grow as, to appreciate the truth, you do indeed grow as the truth. And you don't settle for the other stuff anymore. You start to feel the good and you say, I know what I want. I want this good. Not as a wanting frustration, but because of the knowing what I love is what I want. And what I want is what I love. And that is now. You can't get it through anyone else in the sense of expecting them to give it to you. You can't put it on them. You have to do it. Like now. Right. Would you just check that it's all right, is the feeling of yourself now? That there is the good now. This is what you've got to take with you, man and woman. Because when you get out there, everyone is going to tell you, most of the people, everyone that's not here is going to say, except those that have been here, well, what's he talking about? You know, who's he? Right? They're going to tear it down. They're going to tear the source of the truth down for you if they can. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to you. Let them go on. The thing is, in the midst of it, don't try to defend it. Feel the good. Speak from your own experience indeed. Be the guru that you are when you ever speak from your own experience of life, not what someone told you, including me, but speak from your own vast experience of life. You are guru, you give the best you can. You must only speak from your experience though, not from what you think. If you're going to say what you think, you should tell the person, I don't know, but it would seem, or I believe, or something like that, but I don't know. But when you speak from your experience, if I asked you, what is it like to love? If you've known love, you'll be able to tell me what it's like. But if you've known emotion and not the love, you haven't got them together, separated out, you'll start to tell me that things about love that I know is not true, because you'll start to tell me it's emotion. It's painful, you'll say. Love is painful. Love is never, ever painful. Love is always, always beautiful. No exception. Emotion is painful, terribly painful. How does that sit on you? Do you recognize now the difference? Takes a lot of work inside. perceiving your life through this truth that I've just uttered, so that you start to separate the emotional part of your love out from the love of you. And that's a long job. And that's the reason why your love affairs get in such a mess, because you have not separated the love from the emotion. The I want from I am. Right? But you're doing it. The beauty of it is you don't have to do anything but listen and be and keep checking the truth. Then you will be guided by the I inside of you, which after all is the one eye in the universe, so it has to be pretty intelligent. And it also keeps your little heart beating. For I keep your heart beating. I am so intelligent as to do that even while you are asleep, so you know what you're dealing with there. Just check how we're going for time. Okay. So, obliged and responsibility. You are obliged to earn money for your family. You are not responsible for earning that money. You are obliged to earn it. You are only responsible when you are free of unhappiness, or you know why you are doing it. You are then responsible by your own right. But you're not obliged to earn money for your family. You can go on the dole, and you can get an allowance for them, and they can all exist on that. But then you'd say, well, they're not accustomed to that. Well, isn't that bad luck, eh? Are you going to be unhappy so that they can be accustomed to what you give them? Or are you going to say, finish? I'm not going to sacrifice my beautiful life being unhappy in that job just for a few quid more. I will not sacrifice my love for unhappiness. I am not responsible for any of you, in the sense that I have to provide you with anything. I am responsible, if I see I am responsible, to feed you and clothe you. Well, you're not special. You can get around in the same as your other fellow man, the fellow down the street can. You can do that, I can do that. As long as we know love, we're all right. So you're not obliged. You tell me you've got to go to work to earn money. You don't. Go on the dole then. Right. So you're not obliged. You're not obliged to do anything. You want to go to South Africa? Then don't think about it. Go and sell everything and go to South Africa. What are you thinking about? You're not obliged to stay where you are. You only think you are. It's convenient for you. It's a convenient excuse for you to get this thinking thing going. Will I, won't I? Will I, won't I? Oh, it's a good old table tennis, that one. Goes on forever. Go and do what you want to do. Go and do it. Where do you want to go? What do you want? You're not obliged to do anything in your life. You only think you are. You're only obliged if you're locked up and someone's got the key. You're obliged to stay there, I'll give you that. So you talk about freedom and democracy. Well, if it's a free country, why are you unhappy? You can do anything. But once you're faced with that, you'll find a good reason why you can't. But just examine it. So all you have to do is see the liar in you. See the prevaricator, the putter-offer in you. See that and feel the good. And that will do the work. Good. Let's have a cup of tea. I'm told that I don't have to speak so loudly, so that will suit me fine. But if you can't hear me at the back, would you please just raise your hand and I'll start to project more. You want me a bit more? Loudly, Derek? Right, thank you. Okay, right. I don't wish to bellow for you people in the front, but we must communicate, mustn't we? So while we're waiting for the last people to sit down, we will, of course, always collect ourselves, won't we? No matter what we're doing, because this is the reality. We are practicing reality, being the reality of ourselves. So we must collect ourselves and get into the body, which means always, first of all, find the sensation and then have a look what's inside the sensation. There might be all sorts of uncomfortableness and bands across the chest and the stomach and pains here or pains there or not so good here or there. Okay, be aware of them, but look for the good. Don't isolate the bad by turning your head away from it, and don't concentrate on the bad in your body if you feel uncomfortable. But look for the good and be aware of the other. That is how you enter your body and be yourself, for you are the good. Now, we've had a good time, meaning we've enjoyed ourselves, I trust, in the first half. Let's get stuck into the questions. Let the questions flow. Let me hear from you, and I will do my best to answer you. So, has anyone got a question, please? Yes.
I like what you said about getting with the body, being with the body. But I wondered what one would do if you were paralysed from the neck down. You could just feel your head. Would that
Right. Now, when you're paralysed from the neck down, you will always be able to feel your immortal body, which I have described. You will always be able to feel that if you can get fine enough inside. Because the paralysis is only with the perceived body. Right? And the idea is for the person to lie in that paralysis and endeavour to get underneath it. And be still enough, because you are as deep as the universe. And the paralysis, no matter how deep it goes, you can go deeper. You do not need your body, in other words. But only if you know you don't. Right. Yes?
Does the same apply if you have something like cancer or very great pain in your body?
Indeed.
Can you get through that barrier?
Yes.
Pain?
Because of our friends and the condolences and how sad it is and all the rest of it, we start to identify with a threat to our life and the pain of the cancer, which is real. I'm not going to say it's not real. But again, it is God or life that is doing it. So everything that God or life does has a teaching in it, an opportunity to find the good. So we've got to be the cancer, we've got it in the body, and the pain, but it's not painful all the time. Nothing is painful all the time. It is up and down. There's a little movement in it. And always we have, due to the modern science, we have some relief from it. The thing is, though, to get under the cancer and feel that life is good. And cancer will always, because it is the end of life or living has to always reveal the beginning of life. So no matter what happens to you that seems horrific, is an opportunity there inside yourself. You will feel, my God, this is life. And in saying that, my God, this is life, there is a tremendous impartation of knowledge, self-knowledge, because you just don't say this is life. It's because you felt this energetic communication. This is life. It contains more than anything that I can express, as you would know. Each of you has experienced it in your own way. The moment of revelation, self-revelation. Yes, so the answer to your question is, in any situation, don't identify with the condition. Yes, you've got to do your best in it. If you've lost a leg, there's no good being attached to the leg that you've lost, because you've lost it, that's it. Do what you do to get another one or whatever you want to do, but face the fact that you are not going to be the same again, and use it and go still and feel beneath the pain, if there is still pain there. Feel the reality, and that will always be self-knowledge and reveal to you a greater truth. Yes? Yes?
How much stress would you lay on you where you're breathing in body consciousness?
Right, okay. I know there are meditative methods which apparently take one into the body through the breath. And that can be good. But where I come from, I would never teach you to meditate on the breath, because you'll become dependent on it. And you have to get deeper than the breath. The breath is not deep enough in your psyche. The breath only activates, we've got to take the psyche, right? The psyche is, let's say, that deep. It's as deep as the universe, but that's the human psyche. That's that thing inside of you. Feel the sensation in that. The breath is down here. It only activates that part. If you meditate on the breath, you'll get to the end of where the breath can get you any deeper, and you won't go any deeper, and you'll start to stick there through the habit of it. Now you'll notice that I teach no habit. I just say feel the good, and the good is not a habit. It is a reality that goes right to the very centre of the universe, which is as wide as you like, which is in yourself.
So what you're saying probably would apply to chakra, mantra, all these.
Yes, the chakras and the mantras only work for the East. They do not work for the West. They will only get to the Western mind so far, and then they will go off left and right, and you will still be confused. You will need the mantra to meditate. It's ridiculous, isn't it? You need something then to meditate. You must have nothing to meditate, because feel it? Feel the good. You need nothing to meditate on. The problem is the conflict between East and West that is in conflict as long as you try to join them. You have to bring the East into the Western body. You've got to bring the East, which is the good. The East is the beginning of yourself. The West, the death of all that is good, came out of the East and started to spread everywhere. Just as the sun sets in the West, so from East to West as the sun goes, so as the East turns into the West, it becomes decrepit, degenerative, based on mental things and materialism. You have to get back into the East of yourself, which is the good of yourself. Yes?
If I could just ask a further question. I mean, when I heard you yourself went to the East, I mean, did you also find, even when you were searching, as the Buddha found, when he was searching, that methods of meditation could be useful to you?
Yes, indeed. Everything is useful. Everything that you've ever done in your life is useful to you, for you are the product of all your yesterdays, and you've done it all. When you come to me, I have to say you've done it all. You don't need to do any more, but whatever you do is still okay. You've done it. And the only problem is that you're likely to hang on, as the Buddha said. I think the Buddha said, when you've used the raft to cross the river, don't carry the raft over the mountain. Leave the raft, go. But the problem is with the Western mind, which is such analytical, so categorizing, so compartmental, it makes everything a raft, and it puts it in compartments. So when you meditate on the breath in the West, you will get down that far, and then you'll become addicted, attached to breathing to meditate. And you'll find it very difficult to give it up. Right? But the way to give everything up, it's all right now because God is in heaven and it's all right now and you've been brought here. Just feel the good and you go through all breaths and all habits. The only reason you will ever have to take drink as an addiction is that you cannot feel the good. You've given up feeling the good now, and so you're going to search for the good in some addiction. All right, yes, any other question, please? Yes.
Maybe you said something about affirming. You said there's affirmation involved.
Yes, affirmations, right. The lady said, are affirmations, do I say that affirmations are good or not good? Would that be it, right? Feel the good. Do you have to affirm the good? Is that not an egoic, willful action to affirm the good? Does it not introduce a willfulness that says, I have to affirm this for it to be? It does introduce that, doesn't it? We are here to get rid of the affirmation, the condition that would dare to try to say it is necessary. Everything that is necessary is provided. You have your jumper around your shoulders, you're breathing, your heart is beating, your little stomach and everything's working beautifully. You are comfortable, everything is provided. And if it's not, your body will get up and you will go and find it. There needs no affirmation that there's some water outside if you want a glass of water. It needs no affirmation that you feel good if you do. It is the living truth, living as I in that body. You see this egoic monster, and it is a monster. It will take over from God. Now, God is the only creator. Life which made my heart, and my heart is the only creator. I might not know what it is, but as soon as I say there is only one creator and I'm not going to create anything else, I just want to feel what is created. Now, what is created that is simple? The good. Here it is. I've missed it because I've always been looking for my creation, the bad. Is not your creation everything that is worrying you? That's your creation, not God's. Because everything's fine. You create your own hell. And then you want to blame God or life for it. All right? Yes?
Yes. I find it easy to see when I'm sitting in a park or something, I need to see beauty around me. But when I think about, for instance, the world, the situation in the world, and all the violence and the way we seem to be abusing it, I seem to think, well, that shouldn't be that way.
Right. Could we stop there because did you hear his question? Everyone down the front here hears his question. Now you'll see that you are putting your eye on the park. You're putting your beauty, which is the eye, on the park. So that was your first error. You did not feel the park as yourself. You didn't feel the beauty. You've got to feel there, haven't you? The park is only good because you feel it's good. That was your first error. And you must be aware of that in your life, or you'll put it on your mother or your girlfriend. Right? They will have to be beautiful, and if they're not beautiful, you'll lose the feeling of the beautiful because you'll put it on them. And they're not always going to be beautiful. And then you'll say, there's no beauty in my life. First, you must feel the birds here, in yourself, the beauty of the park. The beauty is here. Certainly you see it, but there's no beauty if you don't feel it. And that's what happens to all the people in the city. And that's anywhere. It's not just to malign the city, but they're busy with what is not beautiful, and they lose touch with the beautiful. Now, the second part of your question was, you then look around the world and you say, well, really, that should not be. Right? That is an affirmation. That is an egoic, willful affirmation that God or life does not know what it's doing. It is indeed true that man does not know what he's doing, and the scientist doesn't know what he's doing, and the whole city doesn't know what it's doing, and Mrs. Thatcher doesn't know what it's doing, and Kinnock doesn't know what he's doing. It is true. And they're messing everything up left, right, and centre. That is the truth. But I know what I'm doing. The God, the truth, the little thing that keeps my heart beating knows what it is doing. So, you hold the good, and that will enable you to see through man's stupidity. Everything's all right. You've got to give up affirming. You've got to give up trying to change the bad, because Mrs. Thatcher and Kinnock are too trying to change the bad. Everyone is really doing their best, and so is the Alliance. Depends what position in space and time you're in. Every position in space and time, which is everybody, has that perspective of view, and it's always different, although it fills into segments called Labour and Alliance and Tory. But each one's trying to do the best from where they see things. Right? You don't have to get involved. They're all going to do their best. They're not going to change anything because they're not addressing the truth. The truth is to get on television tonight, Mr. Kinnock and Mrs. Thatcher, and say, people who are all listening to me, imagine the opportunity. I've got, 200 people here. Imagine if I had 40 million. And I could say, forget the rubbish. It'll all happen. Don't worry about it. Do you feel the good? Then, of course, I would know what I was doing and I would be responsible. Okay, now you be responsible and know what you're doing now, right? You hold that energy. Because the energy is what counts. Just for you to see the truth. You don't have to do anything. You are the power. And you are the glory if only you knew it. You are the power. That's the important thing. That's the first thing. And you have the power to listen, and the listening changes things. You change your perspective. You see broadly 360 degrees instead of down a narrow tube. And that's the spiritual life, isn't it? Good. Yes?
Why don't the 40 million come and listen to you?
Because they all want to be unhappy. And if you try to say that if I say up, I do provoke, I put out a poster when I was here last, I am Guru, who are you? Well, the rending of the thumping of the breasts and the rending open of the whole being, the terrible torment that caused people. Terrible. I hit them just where they needed it. And they stayed away. And I am informed that I am bad-mouthed. People talk badly about me. They stay away, of course. Or they come and want to hear what they want to hear and won't stand up and be straight and give me their truth. They'll sneak out the back door without speaking to you. So they want to be unhappy. They want to believe that Mr. and Mrs. Thatcher are going to change their lives. They really want to believe that because they can't believe that any man can be the living truth. You see, we all want to believe in Jesus when Jesus is dead. As long as Jesus is dead, good. We can now believe in him, fellas. We'll crucify him until he's dead, and when we crucify him, we can believe in him because he can't keep us straight anymore. So it is with Buddha or any of them. As soon as the master's dead, everyone starts to play up and interpret what he said. They don't want the truth. No one wants the truth except you people who come to the truth. You are drawn by your God. You are drawn here by the eye in you, the great eye of the universe. Others can't come here. If you've still got to be a Christian, you couldn't come here. You've got to go be a Christian until you find the truth, which is your own self, that you are responsible for yourself and know Jesus is going to save you. Only I am going to save you. And that's what Christ was trying to say. Jesus, the man who realized the Christ, was trying to say, I am the way, the life, and the truth. But he couldn't get it across, or his priest couldn't interpret it. It's interpreted, it's done. I, the only I in the universe, in that body, and am the way, the life, and the truth. Now you know what it means, don't you? End of story, but that's a solution. You see, we don't want solutions, we want answers. Anyone else have a question, please? Yes?
Why is the good so abundantly compassionate in allowing humanity such an ability to get it wrong, that even it will allow possibly the destruction of the world?
Because the good is timeless. And humanity lives in the condition of time. And I have all the time in the world. And I don't have to prove anything, convince anyone, because it is inevitable. All things come to the timeless in time.
You say you're not in a hurry, but there's an intensity about you, and other masters have that intensity, that urgency, as though time is short, as though something has to be done.
Well, I am playing in time. I am the timeless, where my knowledge comes from and my presence comes from, and I am playing in time. For if I were in the East, I wouldn't have to teach this way. In the East, I would just walk into a room. I mightn't even walk into the room, but say I did. I would just sit down and have a cup of tea. And you who were with me would be with me utterly and completely, because you are of the East. And you don't need to be taught when you are in the East. You just need to be with the living truth, so that you reaffirm in silence what you are. But in the West, you're too cunning. Can't leave you alone for 30 seconds or you'll start thinking. You'll be at it. Rajneesh, he can't leave you for 5 minutes. He leaves you as soon as he's off. Everyone's up to their emotional tricks again. Krishnamurti, he never even tried to come down with you. He just said, well, here it is. I'm not coming down there. You either hear it or you don't. He didn't try to teach the West. He just kept saying it. Yeah, that's all. He didn't get down there. He didn't put any effort into it. He just walked round and round and said, well, at the death, as I read it somewhere, he said, well, I don't know whether one person heard me or not, but it's worthwhile if one did. Well, I can tell him I heard him. I heard Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti is within me and speaks now, although that God, Krishnamurti is only the living truth, all right? And I am the living truth. And Jesus Christ is the living truth, and Buddha is the living truth, right? So I heard Krishnamurti. Right. I've forgotten what it was.
I was talking about urgency. You're urgent.
Okay, the urgency. Because I'm working in time and time's up. Because I work in time, I've got to give this urgency. Because that's of the times, urgency of the times. The motor cars are racing everywhere. The aeroplanes are doing 2,000 miles an hour. This is all urgency. Time is compacting. It can't get much faster. It's getting so polluted electronically that they tell me that there's now electronic pollution where someone's likely to just turn on their fridge and off goes a bomb over somewhere because there's electronic leaking. This sort of thing, it's getting just supercharged. So I have to tell you, and I talk in the Western world, don't I? Like I just related that. That's all part of the urgency to get the communication through the times. That's all. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry, yes. So where's the man? Oh, well, just a minute. The lady, she hasn't asked a question yet. The lady at the back.
Yeah, the more I relax into the present, the less I be bothered about the future. And then sometimes it really gets me. I'm so terrified then about tomorrow because, I mean, I see all these people paying money in for their pension and all these things. It still underneath me. I still freak out about it because the way I'm living right now is I don't afford any money for later on. And somehow it really prevents me from being totally in the present. So I always think I have to do something about it.
What would be your question? How would you word your best question?
Do I give responsibility away now for later?
No.
Have later on to rely on other people either signing on or somebody has to be there who takes care of me.
No, that's all imagination. You might die tonight and you won't have any problems, will you? That is the Western mind. You'll notice that if we went over to what the East was, you would never hear such a question. And that's not to say that the question is not right. But in the East there wouldn't be such question, which the Western British couldn't stand, because the East would just say, well, it's going to be all right. See, we can't say that, because the insurance companies and the advertising people keep telling us it's not going to be all right, it's not going to be all right. So we believe them. The answer to your question as far as yourself is concerned, and that is what I speak to, is there is no future, because any moment your little heart may stop. That is the reality. If your little heart may stop at any moment, then you can bet your life that everything is looked after. Right? Because all the things that you had to do will not be done. That is the reality of life. And the reality of living life is to see that. So I have nothing to do but what I do now, that is so. And if I go down and take an insurance policy out, it won't be in the future. I will take it out now. But I will not be anxious about the future. It is the anxiety which attaches you to a non-existent future. Do what you do, be free. But don't worry, you'll be looked after. You'll be looked after. Someone will bury your body, they won't leave it around. And your children will be okay. Don't worry about them. Someone will come along. There's lots of love in the world. God sees to that. Someone will help them. Someone will take them into care. It's all right. Everything you leave is going to be looked after. Don't be anxious about death. It's always time to die now. Is that not freedom? Is that not the truth? If I am ready to die now, I am not attached to the future. Therefore, I am free now. For to be not free is to be attached to the future. What about this? What about that? What will happen? It's all right. Die now. And you're free. But do what you do. But don't be attached to it, or you'll create a non-existent future. Yes?
What do you say about reincarnation?
Well, I don't speak to reincarnation because it doesn't help you now. The best way I describe it to you now is that if you are angry, then anger reincarnates through you. Where I come from, there is no reincarnation, for I am always in the good, and the good never goes. So how can it reincarnate? It is only the condition that reincarnates, the condition of wondering, have I had a previous life? So I become attached to the past, have I had a previous life, which attaches me to the future. Will I have a next life? All nonsense, utter rubbish. Unless you know now the mystery of reincarnation as yourself, that can never be written. For all things that have ever been are profoundly existential inside of me at this moment. Right? Everything that has ever been, all life on earth is in me at this moment. Nothing has passed away, nothing has died. Everything is in my psyche. Feel it? Just to establish where the psyche is. Feel inside the sensation. That's your psyche. That's the door. You're knocking on God's door, right? That's the door. Feel it?